Morning YouTubers, 66 days to Ironman. This person can't see me in this car. So 66 days to Ironman. That halfway mark is creeping up very, very quickly. It's both exciting and a little daunting. There's always that niggle in the back of my mind. Am I doing enough? Could I squeeze in an extra session? Have I been researching the right advice? Am I listening to the right people? How much does kit have an influence over how well I'm doing, how well I'm training? And I think those questions are very normal amongst both age groupers and those competing for a place in the Kona Championships. I myself am not competing for a place in the Kona Championships, but I still have those kind of questions. So yesterday was rest day. Didn't actually end up resting, as I said last night in my closing video clip. I ended up yesterday, or I work with a number of different government-based agencies and help them out with certain things utilising my previous military experience. And as a result, I harvest my own meat. And although it's not the most particularly glamorous of jobs, what it does do is make me understand and appreciate the food I'm consuming. And actually I wasn't going to cover this topic because I think it can be interpreted in so many different ways and can be controversial. As I said before, I was a vegan for 6 months. I was a vegetarian for a period of time. I was a pescatarian. Listened to my body and it didn't work for me. Now I know a number of incredibly successful plant-based athletes, some of the best endurance runners in the world, and it could be that mindfully I'm not that advanced yet in diet, but what I can do is act in the present and understand what is working. And at the time, a vegan-based diet or a non-animal product diet just didn't work. And I think 6 months is ample amount of time for it to have its place and to set a course. And I will do it in the future. But it is an incredibly controversial topic. And as I said, it was one that I wasn't going to cover at all. But I think based on yesterday, it's maybe important just to cover it a small amount. So I harvest the majority of my own red meat. Venison predominantly. And it goes, I understand the whole process from field to fork, which means I butcher, I prepare, I freeze, I cook, I consume. And the reason I mention this is because we can become so disassociated from the living animal at one end and the food that we buy from the supermarket at the other end. You know, pre-packaged chicken, easy. You know, ultimately you've paid, or society pays someone else to do the dirty work for them. To pull the trigger, to stun the animal, to skin it, to butcher it, to prepare it. And for the majority of people, the job of consuming is relatively easy and painless. As someone I know, a vegan promoter, a guy called Tim Sheaf, says you're paying somebody else, and these are his words, not mine, you're paying somebody else to kill for you. Well, it's not quite convenient for everybody to be out harvesting their own meat. If everybody was to do that, there'd be a mass shortage of meat and the food industry would crumble. I'm in a position where I have a certain amount of skills and expertise in that field where I can do it, so I do. And I pass on that education and that learning to my children. Now, if you're in the US, there it may seem normal, or certainly some of these more gun friendly or hunting friendly states in the US, it may seem quite normal for people to harvest their own meat, to bow hunt, which is illegal in the UK. I must make a point, I'm not a hunter. I don't pay to go out and harvest animals. That's not what I do. Because there is a very, very big difference between someone that rears an animal, releases it and then shoots it from the sky, to someone that works, let's say, with the RSPCA and has animal welfare as their number one goal. There is a massive difference. So if I was to be called anything, I'd say a conservationist, and the byproduct of doing that is animal protein. So yeah, so I think it's important my children are educated in that, and in the UK it's not a standard thing for someone to do. It's a topic that generally is clouded in a lot of hatred. I think a lot of industries in the UK, the food industry predominantly, don't want to publicise so much the way in which supermarkets achieve the masses of meat products on offer. I think if they did, people would have a real shift in the way that they think and the dynamic of what they're doing. There's a very interesting documentary called Cowspiracy. It's available on Netflix. I'll see if I can find it on YouTube. If I can, or on their website. I'll put the link in the description below. Have a look at that. It will change your thinking on food production, on mass food production. It's based in the US, it's not a UK or a European video, but it does open the eye of the average person on the production of food. And I've got friends all over the world, friends in Sweden that harvest their own meat, friends in the US that harvest their own meat. I have a diverse group of friends, from extreme vegans to paid hunters. So I'm aware of the arguments for and against consuming meat across the whole spectrum, and I respect every single one of them. But as I said, for me it's about educating myself in the whole process, and it's very different when you're looking in the eye of an animal and the next minute it is served as food on a plate. And then there's the argument of, what's the difference between a horse and a cow? In the UK not so long ago, and across the whole of Europe, there was a massive issue with horse meat being found in some pies. There was public outcry, and that kind of baffled me slightly. And I think it's because we've become so disassociated, as I said at the beginning, of pet versus food. The whole kind of spectrum in between has been taken out of the equation, that nobody gives it a second thought. So I thought I'd address this topic today because it's topical based on what I was doing yesterday. I always work under the Animal Welfare Act, and I work with, as I said, a number of government paid agencies or employees. Cowspiracy really sums everything up that I'm trying to say, I guess. If you're watching this and you're training and you're consuming masses of meat for protein, there are other options available. I don't believe in telling people what's right and wrong. You can gauge based on your own belief structure and conscience what you think is right. I remember actually, and this is a long time ago, it was during my basic training, we went on a survival course run by a couple of Marines, and we were taught how to dispatch chickens, and each of us had to go, we were in pairs and we had to go through it. Now I was fortunate to be brought up in a family where I come from a Swiss, Italian based shepherd. Well, my family originate from Swiss shepherds on the Italian side of Switzerland, and my grandfather was still very much a old school man that would harvest his own meat and hunt, and I think I learnt my skill from him. But I remember this day, we were in this open hangar, and there were chickens. We had to catch the chicken, dispatch it, cook it, and we were given a couple of potatoes, and it was a survival course. We were literally in our overalls, boots with no laces. We had a couple of wet matches, and that was pretty much it. I think a penknife or something. We were stripped back to the basics. We had to build a shelter and survive. It was a 5-day survival course, how to set snares, all that kind of stuff, which the British Army are very, very good at, and I think armies all over the world are. I remember one of the toughest guys in my troop bursting into tears because he couldn't bear the thought of killing an animal, a helpless animal, for food. I think there's a lot to be said for people that harvest their own vegetables, fruits, who are able to live off the land. Something that I passionately would love to do. It's sadly I can't because of the climate and where I am and the amenities required just wouldn't work for where the environment I live in. So what I try and do is minimise my impact and do what I can. And there are the arguments for, well, why do it at all? You know, and I could say, well, somebody's got to do it. I say, but why you? Well, that's a good argument. If I'm going to consume meat, then I want to know where it's come from. And I think the only sure way of doing that is to do it yourself, source it yourself. Don't rely on what you're being told by the masses, and then make the choice yourself whether it's something that you want to continue to do. I consume chicken. I can't, or it would be incredibly difficult for me to harvest chicken, so it's something I do have to source externally. But again, where possible, I source the location of the chicken, where it's come from, to make sure that throughout its life it has had the best possible life. And from there I make my choice. So that's it really for now. As I said, it's a bit off the cuff, that what I've been saying there, because it wasn't a topic that I was going to cover because of the controversy associated with meat consumption, vegetarianism, veganism. What I would say is, whatever your flavour, whatever you do it as ethically as possible and understand the whole process. Hope that hasn't been too painful for you. Just needed to, I guess, get that off my own chest and explain my belief structure around consumption of animal products. There's more to it than it meets the eye, and the naivety, I think, of the masses. So now I am off for a swim and then a ride this evening. Let me just check what I have on. I have a (2,100 metre swim). So that would be divided into 500s, and then the last 100 metre is best effort. I will catch you later after the swim. For now, peace out. So that's it, done. Swim done. At 30 odd minutes. Experienced the first complainer today in the pool. There were 4 people doing front crawl and one lady who decided to seek out aggravation, conflict, decided to do the back crawl. Or not even back crawl, slower than walking pace in the fast lane. Despite there being 2 lanes. And then complains to the gym staff that she's being intimidated by 4 people using the fast lane for front crawl. bonkers. It comes down to common decency. Or the lack of for some people. I guess some people just don't have that peripheral awareness over space. So the pace was quicker than normal today. Felt good in the pool, felt comfortable. Just got in the zone, shut off the outside world. As I've said all along, I tend to use pool time as a meditation, a bit of reflection. You know, get the head down, the first few lengths, really focus on what each part of the body is doing, and then adjusting it accordingly. And although with a lot of stuff that I do, I work from the feet up, with swimming I tend to go from the fingertips up to the arms, their positioning, keeping the elbow high, the release from the pool, catch, positioning of the thumb. I have a temptation to open the thumb out quite a lot. I think it was from before where I was practicing it coming in towards the pelvis and lightly touching or skimming the pelvis and then bringing it back up. And then position of the head in the water, position of the eyes, neck, chest slightly down, extension of the spine and the abs, down the pelvis, rotation of the pelvis, the quads. I use a pull buoy, so the position of the pull buoy, and then down through the calves, straightness of the feet, and small element of kick. So that, yeah, that was it. Just off home now, grab some food, catch up with some work, gonna pick my kids up from school later, and then a spin session. So for now, that's it. I'll catch up with you later. Peace out. Hi guys, it's only me. Maybe noticing something different. The hair is gone. So I'm going to be gaining a good few seconds on the swim. Just on my way to the shops to get some produce, which I'd forgotten to get earlier on. You may have just seen the bike session. Didn't go to plan. Did 55 minutes on the turbo trainer. The chain came off 3 times. I think it's where I cleaned the bike the other day. There were some adjustments that may have happened to the front derailleur. So I'm going to have to look at that. I've adjusted it slightly and it seems okay now. Just went up the road very quickly. But obviously it interrupted my training session. So that's it for today. Food now. Got to run tomorrow. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch up with you tomorrow.